it's Julia again. Today I want to talk about a deck of tarot that I got a couple years ago, and I'm talking about it today because I trimmed the edges. So this deck is the Minoan Tarot. I really don't see this deck talked about anywhere. I got it because I have a special interest in Minoa, ancient Minoa, which is now modern day Crete. And the reason I didn't use it that much was because it had these really, really sharp edges. I don't know why they decided to do that when they created it. Oh, it's by Laura Perry. I don't have the box anymore because the box was huge and it was coming apart inside. But, so it's Schiller Publishing. So the reason I want to talk about these cards is that they're a very, very different type of card, and that they're based completely on Minoan art. The backs of them are labrises that are found painted and entombed in ancient Minoa. And these labrises, they're like axes, but they weren't used to chop anything or in war because they were often very, very fragile. They were like thin gold. So Minoan society was a peaceful society. It was a society where they did not have any artistic representations of war or rape. So this is in contrast to Greek and subsequent Roman societies where they had mythologies full of rape. We have Pompeii, which is basically a brothel with pornography. This is a very different society. Women had a very high status. And Laura Perry, she also wrote a book. I have the book. It's Ariadne's Thread. It's behind a bunch of other books, and it will take time for me to go get it. But she doesn't romanticize Minoan society. She admits it probably wasn't perfect, but one thing it was peaceful. There was a mercantile society. It was actually had pretty high technology for the time, and it was hierarchy, but it wasn't authoritative. So it's a very interesting society to study, to meditate to, especially in this world where we're just surrounded by misogyny. Women are hypersexualized at a younger and younger age. This is a really interesting, a really fascinating society to study and kind of contemplate. Of course, this meant that they were so a volcano exploded and kind of crippled them once the Romans and Greeks came. They were sitting ducks. So an argument could be made, well, they focused so much on art and beauty that they got taken over, but to me that's not an argument because we need to become less warlike and stop taking over other countries. But anyway, I love Minoa. It has beautiful art. It's a very simple art, but it's very symbolic. And I'm not going to show you the whole deck. I did want to talk about the deck though. I think it's, so I meant to keep one card sharp to show what it looked like before. And I think that she kept it square because it follows Minoan art. So it has like these like square, and the squares went with it, but it would poke me and be very painful, so I could barely use the deck, and I really didn't get into it. This like changed my life, and I feel like I have a new deck. It comes with this great guidebook that has like a really brief history of Minoa. Very colorful. And she does a lot of things that are different with the deck. So she replaced the traditional suites with different suite cards. So I'm going to go over them and show you some of the cards. So these are the daggers. And the daggers actually do not coincide with swords. They coincide with wands. So that's the fire. And one thing that's really interesting is that she doesn't have knight, king, queen, page. She believed that was out of balance with male and female. So she has maid, youth, priest, maid, youth, lady, lord, priest, and priestess, which is pretty cool. And it's either based on actual art, so this is the Suite of Swords, the fire, or it's inspired. Again, if I'm being weird with the camera, I'm still getting used to looking at the camera over there. my computer. And it is a terrible camera, so I'm stuck with my phone. Oh, and I sliced my finger open with scissors, so that's why there's a Band-Aid. With a lot of the minor arcana, there's not a lot of art, but it's still visually pleasing, and it's based on Minoan style. And even when she, there's like, she has Minoan style, like everything is based on Minoa and what they've found there. So that's a suite of daggers, which are wands and fire. So the cups are rhytons, and she uses colors that are found in Minoan art a lot. So that's the maid. There's the priest. And a lot of people, and she does have like, if she has people in the minor arcana, it's generally like arms or hands. And in Minoa, the women were often painted with fair skin, where the men were painted with like a browner skin, kind of like Egypt. And I don't know why they did that, because from all the paintings, the women spent as much time outside as the men. And they probably all kind of look like me, because I'm Sicilian, so Mediterranean. Which is, again, why I'm kind of obsessed with this as someone of Mediterranean origin. I'm kind of stuck with Greek and Roman mythology, where it's just very violent. I love Greek and Roman mythology. I grew up on it, but come on. It's got to be something else. So this, actually, let me, kind of shows the progression. I love how, of course, the women, this is how they portrayed women. So that was the maid. They're always doing something. They're not over-sexualized. They're not in brothel positions like, and I've been to Pompeii and I've seen Pompeii. There's the Lord. There's the lady. Do some close-ups. There's the priestess. And I don't really know what I did with the priest card. But that, there is a priest card in there. But again, the labruses are, they are the air card, I believe. So swords. So these are the horns. So this is interesting. The horns are the pentacles. And it's not a bull symbol, it's a cow symbol. Because back in the day, and I talked about this in one of the other videos I did, all cows, all bovine. Is it bovine? Yeah. They all had horns. So when you see female cows without horns, it's because they've been bred like that. This was actually in Minoa. It was a female sign. It was also believed to be a sign of ovaries, or the womb. There's the maid. I love the coloring. Again, these are all based on Minoan architecture, Minoan imagery. So you can see how the art isn't for anyone, but it is specifically Minoan. There's a reason it is how it is. Oh, this is so much easier to do without sharp corners. There's one with people in it. Okay, the major arcana. The ones I picked are all based on actual art from Minoa. So there are other ones, of course, I didn't want to show the whole deck, but there are other ones inspired by art or also based on art. So the adept is, I believe, the Hierophant. I could be wrong. But what's interesting about this is everyone has probably seen this image. This is an image of the snake goddess of Minoa. Very famous image. Very, very famous image. And so one thing I want to point out, this is right here is linear B. So in Minoa, there's linear A and linear B. And we don't know, really, we haven't translated linear A, but we have translated linear B. And Laura Perry really goes into great historic detail on this. That's the chariot. The star, wearing the little flounce dresses that women are often portrayed in. The world, again, based on actual art. So this is a woman, because of her fair skin. and her skirts. And this is she's obviously has a lot of power and confidence. So I love this artistry. Bees are a huge theme in Minoa. This is sun. So these last two I picked because these are both actual pictures from Minoa, from the temples or the ruins. And it talks about how both boys and girls did this bull athleticism where they like took the horns of cows, bulls, and they jumped over them. I know, a Minoan rodeo. And it's one of the, it shows male and females doing some of the same things, unlike Romans and Greeks, where you don't have women doing any kind of athleticism. You just have Diana. I love Diana and Artemis, but in this culture, there was equality between the sexes, and all over the place are these pictures of boys and girls participating in athletic events. So that's why I say, this is a great deck if you're trying to meditate on a civilization that was peaceful, kind of give yourself hope that we can do that, even though we live in a time of great violence. I just like Minoan civilization. And again, Laura Perry, she does a lot of historic, just a lot of history in this. If you get it, trim the edges. The only way I was really able to do this, which is why I was so excited about this, even though it's been out a while, is because I got it from Amazon. I have a little time left, so this is the book. And it's a really, really well done book. She has card layouts. This is based on the Labyrinth, which is a huge theme in Minoa. And in fact, the Minotaur and Ariadne was believed by some people to have been a goddess in Minoa before Theseus became Theseus' female sidekick. So since I have time, let me... So here's our book, Ariadne's Thread. I think that's how you say Ariadne. Awakening the Wonders of the Ancient Minoas in Our Modern Life. So it just talks about what we believe is their philosophy, how they lived. How can we live like that in modern life? How can we, a place where the sexes are truly equal, where there's truly respect for women. It's just kind of a trip to see. We take we go to a museum, or I went to the old courthouse in St. Louis, and there's all these paintings of war, past battles. They don't have that in Minoa. They probably had some sort of military, but they didn't glorify it. They weren't a war society. They weren't a society based on the oppression of women, like the rape of Sabine, where they, that's a myth and they portray it in art in the Middle Ages. All these men raping women, In fact, I think it was the Da Vinci Code the Da Vinci Code? It was one of his books, Dan Brown's books, where a female character is walking through Rome looking at all these statues of Greek gods raping women. And she's thinking, oh yeah, so lovely to see how this is portrayed through history. But no, it doesn't really have that. Of course, that, again, made it very, a few other cards, made it very easy for them to be conquered. Here's the one I love too. The moon. And, it's a portrayal of women baring their breasts, but it's not in a very over-sexualized manner like Playboy. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that video. Again, it's the Minoan Tarot by Laura Perry. It's been out for a while. I'm just excited because I finally trimmed the edges. I didn't know you could do that until I watched another video. Yeah. Have a good day.